All right, we're starting with the emerging realities and the corner pictures ahead of the 2027 race for the nation's top seat. The presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the 2023 elections, Adebayo, joins us live on Arise Prime Time. Glad to have you join us.
It's a pleasure to be here indeed.
By-elections are holding tomorrow. Will SDP be participating following a court order on INEC to list its candidates?
Yeah, we'll be participating. We have been participating. We did the congresses, we did the primaries, we did the nominations, and I think there was some misunderstanding with INEC with respect to the procedure, and the party decided to go to court to get an interpretation. And I think the interpretation now has given INEC a proper guidance as to what INEC needs to do. And the reports from the various constituencies, from the 12 constituencies where the elections are being held, is that INEC is giving our party officials the materials that they need to participate, agent cards, other things. So INEC appears to be in clear obedience of the court order.
Because I was going to ask you that immediately. Has INEC obeyed the court order? And from what you're saying, seemingly so.
Yes, we haven't heard from any of the constituencies where they said they haven't complied. They've been giving them the material, so I believe the INEC will comply. But tomorrow, of course, will be the day we're going to know.
All right. Well, like you had me read there a while ago, what's actually the state of your party concerning this story? In some quarters, I mean, I've read in some papers that there are factions.
Well, there are no factions in the SDP, but there are tendencies. And for a political party like us, we had one common tendency. Ideological convergence was already set up for us. We are a different party. We're lucky because when originally the party came into existence in 1989, already before even members came into the party, we already had a path to go. Remember the NRC SDP, little to the left, little to the right. And the politicians who wanted to go to the left side of the ideological divide decided to go to the SDP. And that's how we came up with Yar'Adua, the senior Yar'Adua, and so many other people like that. Eventually, we ended up with Abiola and the farewell to poverty and insecurity. So then when the party came back after the military interregnum, and we came back, we followed that ideology. But, you know, as you look for electoral success, new people join. And some of these people who join are joining as human beings. So they are coming with their own tendencies, the politics the way they know it. So you expect to see some negotiation going on, some conflict going on. And secondly, you will see that the party is a party of law and order. The party is a very carefully crafted party for law and order. Every organ of the party works. In many political parties, these organs are decorative. So if you say there's a national working committee, it could be 3 governors sitting down on top of Ghana must go backs, telling you what to do. In the SDP, no matter who you are, if the NWC is calling you, you better go there quickly and listen to them. If the state working committee is calling you, you better be careful. If the ward is calling you, you better be careful. You could see that the national chairman of the SDP, duly elected and substantive chairman, is Shehu Musa Gabam. Nobody is questioning that. The national secretary, Oluwagunloye. But Shehu Musa Gabam, due to the activity of the National Working Committee, over which he presides, suspended him. And he has comported himself, even though he argues vehemently that there's no basis to suspend him, he's not guilty of anything, and he's been following the party constitution, but he has kept to that. So for the past 2 months, he doesn't come to the office, he's obeying the order of the NWC. Occasionally, when the party needs him to do anything, answer some questions, or perform any activity, he still obeys. So it's a party of law and order. But there are people whom I have some sympathy for who are new to the party, who assume that, okay, if this is the national woman leader of the party, national youth leader of the party or any official of the party, if they don't look like they're billionaires, you think that, okay, maybe if I promise to buy them a car or give them some money, they're going to overlook their authority. They won't. And so that shock, that cultural shock is what you see. So many people, when they face discipline in the party or they have a request and the request is not met, they will resort to what they have been used to in their previous places. But a political party that wants to grow has to have a room to know that people are learning. So we just watch them, let them do all the drama they need to do. But the SDP is not about drama at all.
Right.
There's no faction. The organs are there and everything is intact. And if anybody is in doubt, you can go to INEC, who nominated the candidates, who is going to conduct them tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So the party is in order.
All right. El-Rufai, in a recent video, called for voters in Kaduna. I'm sure you have watched that video. He called for voters in Kaduna to vote for SDP candidates. But your party says he's been expelled for 30 years. Some are asking, if you say, I mean, that's the question some are asking, expelled and banned. If you say he is not your member, how then can you expel or ban one who isn't your member? I mean, that's the question some are asking.
No, that question is for the National Working Committee of the party. Left to me, I don't want to ban anyone. Left to me, anyone who is banned, if they are repentant, they behave well, should be accommodated. But the organ of the party have the right to make a decision regarding membership. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has decided that. What I can say, generally speaking, is that as a member of the political party that obeys its own rules, if the party says this is how we go about it, I will follow the party. However, the party has sufficient organs within the party for anybody, including someone who was banned or suspended, to approach that organ of the party to make your case. So for me, who is a member of the party, who wants the party to grow, anyone who says vote for SDP is my friend. Whether he was in my party or not in my party, whether I was suspended or not suspended. I go around telling people vote for SDP, not because of me, but because the country needs alternative politics.
So where is El-Rufai now? Is he a member of your party or is he in ADC?
As per
well, we know about him being in the coalition. We'll come to talk about the coalition. But where is El-Rufai a member of your party?
Well, what I can say, and second-hand information, is that from party records, from what party officials are saying, that he's not a member of the party.
Okay.
But if he wants to be a member of the party, I'm not against him being a member of the party.
Okay.
I just have to follow what the party says clearly. But the party officials will explain how the processes work. But what I can say is that this is how you know a member of a party. You will see their name in the ward register, where they come from. And at the national level, the national secretary will have overall numbers of members and the particulars. But one way or the other, it is left, it's a voluntary organization. Yeah. It's left for the member and the party to try to work it out. And we who are inside the party have been advising one way or the other to see how.
One more on El-Rufai. He calls the ruling APC a failed, clannish, and visionless administration that has plunged Nigeria into deeper socioeconomic misery. Of course, you're one of the parties trying to unseat the ruling APC. Do you agree with his description of APC? What do you think of? He's not
saying anything new.
Okay.
He's saying in 2025, after many waters have crossed his own bridge, what I was saying in 2022, 2023. So it's echoing me now. So I can't charge him for copyright, but I can say welcome to the club. But we've been saying this for some time. And we're saying this not out of animosity or anything. The result that we are getting from the performance of the APC for the last 10 years resembles the result we got and we're not satisfied with under the PDP for 16 years. And if this result must change, we must change the political tendencies that are in authority. changing your political party without changing your tendency is just a mere nomenclature.
Break that down, changing your tendencies.
There is a governing principle which is feudalistic that is responsible for why our democracy is not in congruence with the result. Now, that mentality where first you don't respect the power comes from the people, you don't respect the rule of law, you don't want to show accountability, and you don't want to separate money from politics. That tendency where the bigger your money, the bigger the result you get in politics. And then when you go to politics, the bigger money you need to roll over your political investment. That kind of mentality, if you have it, you can jump from APC to SDP, to ADC, to ADA, to YYY. If you carry that mentality, wherever you go, it will pollute that place. So if you are in APC, you don't even leave APC, and you decide to change your mind. For example, President Tinubu doesn't have to leave APC. He's in government. If he decides to take a playbook, something out of the playbook of SDP, and governs properly for the Nigerian people, follows the chapter 4 of the Constitution and chapter 2 of the Constitution combined, and decides to be accountable and to be a constitutional Democrat, he doesn't have to leave his party. Results will change. But because you have squabbles in your party, you now leave and join another party. But you don't want to drop the tendency that caused the tension where you're coming from. You want to now pollute the new place with that same tendency. You just change alphabets. In fact, now they are running out of alphabets to use. But what you need to do, what is going to change the life of Nigerians, is that we need a different politics.
Now, distinguished Senator Adebayo was here 2 or 3 days ago, and he was saying, because I'm going to ask you, how do we affect what you're saying and the mindset, the paradigm of the politicians like you? He was saying that, I'm trying to tell you that we are the problem. You're a politician. Mm-hmm. So he's accusing himself, so to say. He's saying that the elite are causing the problem. So how do you change that paradigm and get the politicians to really work for the interest of the electorate who elected them into power?
First, you need new politicians. Because recycling the old politicians, not just a matter of age or other things, is that a leopard, if you don't like sports, then you don't need to bring leopards, because leopards cannot change the sports. So you need to listen to new ideas and new politicians. When new politicians come with new ideas, we should not be too conservative as a society, because a conservative society is trying to consolidate on its own progress, whether obtained lawfully, unlawfully, historically, wrongly. But when you see a conservative society, they have something they've achieved, something they've grabbed from the world, which they want to preserve. But a country reeking with 90-something% poverty rate, a country that has no infrastructure, has no institution working, you cannot be conservative. You have nothing to lose. You need new ideas, you need new leadership, you need to renew yourself. And the ideologies we have, articulated or not articulated, is that ideology is that politics is for the people who are in politics, and governance is for those who are in government. That's why everybody is trying to be in government. No matter the condition set for them to be in government, they want to be in government. And when they are not in government, their opposition is to struggle willy-nilly to be in government, not to change what is going on in the government. So it's left for the Nigerian people. How many politicians in this country? The politicians in this country are now up to 2% of the population. So it's not about what the 2% are doing or not doing. It is what the 98% want to do.
I will come to the electoral system briefly and how this affects what you're discussing, what you're talking about. But the WTO DG, Okonjo-Iweala, says the president must be commended for stabilizing the economy, but says cushioning hardship is paramount by building safety nets and growing the economy to create more jobs and put more money in people's pockets. What do you make of a statement?
The statement is correct in the paradigm of neoliberal economics. So it's like saying a doctor who mistreated 1,000 patients and they are dropping dead by the dozens, has now managed to reduce the number of those who are dropping dead to like 1 a week. So you can say you stabilize the situation. It doesn't mean that the situation is correct. It's saying that the trauma that the APC, PDP policies threw the Nigerian people into, or even the tailspin that the economy was going into, has now stabilized. So it's like a pilot who ran, because he doesn't know what he's doing, ran into a terrible weather, flying above, the level given to him, facing the wrong direction, and now is flailing in the storm. Has now managed to balance the aircraft. He still has to find his bearing. He still has to find his altitude. He still has to travel towards the original destination. So what Tinubu has managed to do, President Tinubu, is that instead of burning so much money to defend the Naira, instead of struggling with inflation number that doesn't make their own budgeting to make any sense to themselves, what he's managed to do is that he's managed to cleverly cover how much money the CBN is using to defend the Naira, to make it look like we can't see it. And because politicians are talking about faction, this and that, nobody's paying attention that the CBN is burning our money, which could have used for employment, infrastructure, and all of that, is burning that money to defend the Naira and keep it at a level. Secondly, what are they doing? They went and rebased the statistics so that inflation, which will ordinarily be getting to 38%, is somehow rigged, into about 21% or 22%. So these numbers now makes them to be able to communicate to themselves regarding whether their policies make sense. But the Nigerian people are not involved in all of these things. We use the feedback that we get from our stomach, the feedback with energy costs, the feedback from rent, the feedback from cost of education, the feedback between the spending capacity of double-digit, triple-digit wages. So if you are earning $1 million naira and you can only buy 2 tickets for you and your wife to go and see your aging mom in the village and come back, and your salary is gone, you know that whatever WTO is saying doesn't make sense. Last thing I want to say is that WTO is not where you get your figure for your economics. WTO is where you get your figures for trade relations. And if you look at the tariff being bandied all over the world, everybody is giving tariff against the other. WTO is not a place where you go now for wise people.
All right, on elections again. INEC recently asked political parties to desist from any sort of campaigns until 150 days to the elections, which is what the law says. Farouk Aliyu, an APC member, he came here one time and he says that INEC, he actually places the bulk on INEC's table, that INEC should build the big stick. He's blaming INEC for that. What's your stance on what the political parties are doing? Should they be doing it? And what should INEC be doing?
2 things. 1, the guilty party is President Tinubu and the APC. There's nowhere you go.
It's only APC and Tinubu. INEC says most of the parties.
See, when you are the leader, when you are the party in government, you set the tone. When you are the leader of the country, when it comes to obeying the law, you set the tone. There's nowhere you go, you don't see the picture of President Tinubu, some members of his family already dancing and waltzing ahead of 2027. So if you are not to be caught panting, as an opposition, you would give an answer. If the government was governing, our policies would be opposition towards against their governing methods. But since they are campaigning, the opposition has to be in a campaign format. Then there are so many displaced politicians who were used by President Tinubu and dumped on the highway, who are now walking all over the place looking for political accommodation. So in the process of changing party, looking for party to join, dissolving NWC or some party, joining their crisis, politics becomes something that is now current. Now, also, you know that if you were saying that before, in the last 1 month, we have by-elections. So we will have to work on the by-elections as well. So I don't think any INEC can say anything about that. The key issue is that if we want to go back to regular order, the president and the APC have to go to regular order. Once they go to regular order, remove all those obnoxious billboards all over the place. And then we now will be listening to them. They will be briefing us about how the budget is performing,
all right,
how education is performing.
Now you talked about
then we can respond to those.
You talked about opposition. What's your take on the opposition parties and their internal squabbles, and what does this portend for our democracy? That's one. And what do you sincerely make of the opposition coalition ADC with the caliber of politicians you have in there?
Let me start with ADC. I have stopped thinking about them because we have had engagement with them. They came, before they went to ADC, they were to come to SDP. We had robust conversation with them. They had no answer to 99% of our questions. And we said, thank you very much. Carry your, whatever you're carrying, to the next bus stop. Here, you have not answered our questions correctly. We're not dealing with you. Doesn't mean that we don't share the same objective with you, that President Tinubu is not supposed to be there. And it would be a mistake for the country, even for him personally, and for any other person, to keep him beyond 2027. We agree with that. But you haven't answered our questions. So go on and do your own business elsewhere. So having left us in peace and carrying their whatever activity to their own place, courtesy demand that I should leave them alone. Maybe in the course of electioneering in future, if we see some of them that are willing to answer the question that what is wrong with Nigerian politics is not Tinubu in person. What is wrong with Nigerian politics is the ideology for getting to power. What is wrong with Nigerian politics is not APC as an alphabet or acronym. That what is wrong is the philosophy of politics, the way you fund it, the way you arrange it, what you do when you get in there, and the lack of ethics, that the idea that no minimum ethics required to be in politics. Secondly, that every party is the same. We are not the same with them. We, SDP and ADC, we are polar opposite. We are not the same with them.
All right.
And I'm not saying this because there's a person I don't like there. We have tried to engage them intellectually, ideologically. They gave up. They couldn't answer the question. So we left them alone.
We'll leave it there. I wish you had more time to take up some more questions, particularly the electoral reforms that INEC is proposing, and then the Patriots, the public hearing on the Constitution, but we don't have enough time. Thank you so much, Adebayo, former presidential candidate of SDP, for being here.
Thank you. God bless Nigeria.